Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with Andrew Velez, Joel Dels, and John Tortorelli. Riv is not here today. He had to go ref a basketball game, but we're here talking about basketball, and there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about. There are some pressing, I would say, topics that are going on in the NBA right now. The Cavaliers being 3-0.
Yep.
Paolo Banchero had a terrible fourth quarter against the Bucks, and that's led to a lot of conversation on the internet around him, a game in which Cam Thomas out-dueled him. And then we're going to tier list every single Eastern Conference and Western Conference team.
Big show.
And talk about, who deserves to be in that contender conversation. Who are the bottom dwellers? Who are the mid teams? We're going to discuss it all on this episode.
Drew, are you pumped?
Now, let me ask you a question. In which regard?
For Sunday. It's one of the best days of the year.
I love that you bring this up because Charles and I had a real strong conversation this morning about it. We're talking about the NBA All-Star Game for those that haven't caught on. For those that don't know, I adore the NBA All-Star Game.
Top 5 day of the year, according to Drew.
When the game was actually good.
When Kobe was alive,
A decade ago, yeah.
Now, you say that, and I don't disagree. Charles this morning sends me the 2018 All-Star Game, where it was the first year of the draft, if I'm not mistaken, and LeBron drafts Kevin Durant. This is the Kevin Durant that absolutely ruined basketball, and all LeBron fans hated. Curry was the captain of the squad, obviously, and said, you already have KD enough every single day. We're going to take Kevin Durant on our, and I'm going to have Kevin Durant on my squad. That last 2 minutes, beautiful basketball. They're getting angry over missed calls. They're in transition. They're going back and forth. And B gets the ball in the paint. He's bumping Bron, going and scoring the easy lay because that's a mismatch for him. LeBron goes right back to possession after, three in his face. It's great hoops. 2018, last possession. LeBron hits the three, or LeBron hits the layup, puts us up three. Steph Curry gets the inbound. They double team. They being LeBron and KD to kind of show Curry, you're good, you're a little bro at the moment, at that time, because Curry obviously has cemented himself, in my opinion, over Kevin Durant at this point in time. But at the time, that was kind of KD showing, I'm the guy. And LeBron, this is peak LeBron, this is 2018 Bron.
Yep.
You know who else laid a dud in that All-Star game? In that closing moments of the game?
Who?
The guy who won MVP that season, James Harden.
Damn.
He absolutely chucked brick after brick. But they were playing real basketball. Now, Kevin Durant brought up an interesting point. He said, they want to point out the old guys. What the fuck is Jokic doing in the All-Star game?
Made a great point.
What the fuck is Luka Doncic doing in the All-Star game?
Kind of spent
Go
our place in
watch
the
what
regular
they're
season.
doing. They're the ones not trying. They treat this shit like a joke. So it's not KD, it's not LeBron, although LeBron getting injured in the All-Star game definitely put a damper on things. When he fucked up his hand that one All-Star game, that kind of led it to go in the direction that we didn't want. But it's true. Luka and Jokic, who are two of the most exciting players to watch in basketball, treat the All-Star game like it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, just blame the white guys while we're at it, right?
Did you see Nick Wright's take on the All-Star game?
And I thought it was hilarious.
I thought so too. I thought it would be entertaining because I think both sides would really try.
I obviously know he was making a joke, but if you look into the joke, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. It would be hard basketball.
Nick Wright said, if you guys are unaware, black players versus white players. White players get all the Europeans, Jokic and Lukas of the world. It'd be interesting.
I mean, they're starting to have enough to where that is a viable option.
Yeah,
now.
that's like Pritchard would be an all-star probably. Like you can get into some of the names that like on the Whites bench.
Like 10 years ago, I don't think that was possible. You get like JJ Redick and Kyle Korver on the team.
Yeah.
But like now, it's become more possible because of the rise of basketball internationally. Listen, I don't think it's just Luka and Jokic though. Like we're not about to act like 2018 was, what was it? 6 years ago now?
No,
8 years ago.
8 years ago? LeBron has not tried in multiple All-Star games. Kevin Durant has not tried in multiple All-Star games.
Since LeBron broke his hand, I can't disagree.
Steph Curry has also not tried in multiple All-Star games as well.
I don't agree with that.
And it's listen.
He scored 50.
I think 50 when? I don't even remember it.
Steph Curry, he won MVP not too long ago.
When was it?
This is, I think, 2023.
That might have been the most boring All-Star game ever. That's why I don't remember
Him and Dame went tit for tat with threes.
Yeah, they were just letting them shoot. And they
were making it.
I mean, but that takes the competitive part away of basketball, though. It's like the All-Star game has not been entertaining to watch in a very long time.
I agree.
Maybe like there's slither of moments where maybe if it's close and it's the fourth quarter, like then they lock in for like 2 minutes or so.
That's usually the All-Star games, though.
But I don't think it's just like, I don't think it's Jokic or Luka being singled out. I think that there are issues to the problem as well. It's overall everybody's not trying, and with as many as fixes as people try to come up with the All-Star game, they want to you implemented drafting into it, so maybe there's more pride in it. Whatever it is,
that shit was peak.
Now people get like donations for the winning team and stuff like that. At the end of the day, there's too much money on the line in these players' contracts to risk getting hurt in the All-Star game, and they are not going to play unless they don't want to play hard. It doesn't matter how many different rules and different type of stipulations we put on the All-Star game. If they don't want to play hard in the game, they're not going to play hard.
If I'm being honest, sorry, I don't know how the NHL does it. I don't know how intense it is, but MLB is just different because it's just like pitching and hitting. You can't really go hard or soft when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And football is broken too. Like the Pro Bowl is flag football now. So it's just any All-Star format. And the Pro Bowls after the season's over too. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it's mid-season like the NBA is. Same thing with baseball. It's in the middle of the season. I don't think there's any way to fix it. I think it is what it is at this point.
The beautiful thing about the All-Star game was watching them be lackadaisical for the first 3 quarters, and then the last 5 minutes of the game, you're getting real basketball.
Yeah.
Because what started happening is that one team would just blow out the other team.
Yeah.
So you would never get to the point in the fourth quarter where the game was actually close.
So the last great All-Star game was the All-Star game after Kobe Bryant passed away.
The target score.
And it was, I think, Team Giannis versus Team LeBron. And Kawhi was going crazy. LeBron hit the game-winning shot, but he hit one of the important shots of the game. But Anthony Davis, it was an unfortunate end to what was a great ending of the game. They ended up going to overtime. Or they had like an extra score for whatever it was. It was awesome. But that was the last one. And I think that's also old LeBron too. That's
what, 2021?
That's year 1920 LeBron.
Yeah.
So that's why I can't look at LeBron and especially at his age and say, yo, this is on Bron.
I'm not
when the
expecting him to
kids
go hard
aren't
anymore.
trying.
I'm not saying it's on Bron, but he has played it. He's had a hand in it too.
Not really.
Yeah, no, he definitely has.
This seems
Recently,
like just a
I think
LeBron
Garnett-
coach.
He's 37 now. Like at the age of 37, that's when he started to
I'm
stop
with you.
trying.
Kevin Garnett had a video that went viral, and I kind of agree with the take in the 2012 All-Star game where it's 1 possession, 2-point game, and
Kobe Bryant sunned him.
about 15 seconds left. Kobe really starts to intensely guard him, and then LeBron passes out to, I believe it was one of the guards. Instead of kind of relishing that matchup, old versus new, the way Kobe did with Michael Jordan, kind of like a passing the torch moment, something symbolic in NBA history, and that never happened. So in a way, it's this one small moment, but it's something that's blown up to epic proportions because he didn't relish that opportunity. And like you said, the All-Star game for 3
Seen
quarters...
LeBron fucking trying so many All-Star games for me to care about this one microcosm.
In 2012, 15 years ago.
In
14 years ago.
2016, when LeBron had his final matchup with Kobe, he
So
did the
when we
same
have
shit, smacked
these
the
3.5
floor.
quarters of All-Stars and the best players in the world just going through the motions, and those final few minutes, that's the epic kind of part of the game. For fans, that's underwhelming in a way. So to say he didn't have any impact when he's been NBA player for the duration of the All-Star game, from going from quality to something that people... I don't watch the All-Star game half the time. So
That's a
going
mistake.
from something
Why am I
that was
taking
once
your
great to something that's sometimes unwatchable, something I'm like, all right, I'm not going to miss anything.
Not
I'm
watching the
gonna
All-Star game is not a
It's a
mistake.
difference.
There's nothing to
Nowadays,
watch.
I agree.
not, yeah.
Nowadays, I agree.
For
So
most of the
USA world
2010s,
is
it really wasn't
I
anything
disagree
special.
Since
wholeheartedly.
2021, I don't think I've watched a full All-Star game. I've watched
same.
quarters,
Okay,
I've watched moments,
Again,
and
I
then I'll do
I don't
my thing
overly
afterwards.
hate where your head's at because it
It's
hasn't
not a
been
like
hyped up
5 p.m.
event
this year.
It
anymore
hasn't
as
been
much
good.
as it used to be.
Last year's was pure trash.
Yeah.
Last year's was
I haven't
an
seen the last 2
embarrassment
years.
to,
I
to
don't really
basketball.
remember last year's.
It was there was more commercials than there was actual hoops. It was an embarrassment to basketball. There's no defending what the hell product that was last year. It was horrendous.
It's tough.
The thing with basketball, though, is that they should have an advantage when it comes to All-Star festivities because the sport, there's not physical contact in a way that you're getting tackled and stuff like football. Like football, you can't have a game like that because there's way too much injury risk involved. Yep. You can play defense and you can play in a way in an all-star game, like in a regular basketball exhibition game in which you're not flailing and falling into other players and, you know, the injury risk is minimized. Mm-hmm. As for like NHL, NFL, that is not something that can happen. So the NBA should have an advantage when it comes to these things to actually put on a good product. But the All-Star game, when I've watched it for the last couple of years, the last decade plus, for the most part, all it feels like is just half-court shots being taken, no contests whatsoever, lobs from like the logo that are cool occasionally. Everybody's like getting a highlight reel off, but there's really no like substance to it. And if a team is blowing another team out and they can't get to like the fourth quarter where there's any meaningful possessions or moments, then it's just going to be a bad game overall.
Yeah. The 3-point contest is the only thing that actually brings stars these days, right? Because the dunk contest has been like this for a minute where you're just getting, is Mac McClung in it this year?
No.
Oh my God.
It's Jace Richardson.
And Jace Richardson tweeted, I guess, like he was like, sure.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the 4 players that are participating in it.
Who's in it?
Nah, the 4 players that are participating in dunk contest. It's pretty sorry, bro. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
it's pretty sorry.
I don't remember.
Yeah, John.
I was shocked. I love Jace. I love this game coming out of college, but I saw that. I said to myself, huh? And then there's a tweet of all of his dunks.
And it all started when LeBron didn't want to be in a contest, man.
That I agree.
It wasn't something that
I will. That if there's one thing that I will say is disappointing is that he never participated in the dunk contest.
One of these players could be kind of interesting.
Jordan even participated in a 3-point contest apparently.
Dame's doing it this year. That's nuts.
Legend.
Yeah, dude. It's Carter Bryant. It's Jackson Hayes. It's Jace Richardson and Kashad Johnson.
Let's go Jackson. Jackson Hayes taking it home.
I could see Jackson have a couple nice dunks.
He's a legend.
Yeah, he's a good dunker.
Sorry.
But the All-Star game at this point, it is what it is. I feel like a more interesting conversation around just NBA right now is more so about the expansion. Mm-hmm. I think that Seattle and Vegas feel like locks to get a team. I really want New Jersey to get a team again.
That'd be dope.
I feel like they should.
Playing?
It's just killing me that the only
it should be it's been fairly empty for a while.
Fairly, it's a relic at this point.
It's abandoned.
It's being polite.
No, exactly. It's disgusting.
It just makes no sense that I like the Jets and the Giants can play at MetLife in New Jersey, but New Jersey can't have a basketball team that can attract people to go to it. Because one of the big reasons why they went to Brooklyn was because of tickets and ticket sales and viewership. So I don't know. I mean,
we took what we had for granted.
I went to the Prudential Center and for the Devils game, and it was packed.
Yeah.
So clearly, there's a hunger for
cool.
professional sports, and people like going to hockey games in person. So I could only imagine, like, if an NBA team comes back to New Jersey, they could do well too.
Well,
and
I just
feel like
the
they
stadium
should.
next to MetLife and American Dream, just like all these other cities do, where it's just all within the same vicinity of each other.
I'd cream. Sounds like a dream come true. When I go to Philly. And it's Wells Fargo, it's the bank.
Yeah, it's a very cool area. Very cool.
And Lincoln Financial, bro, that place is one of the goated spots that I've ever been to.
Yeah, they just need to it's just not walkable MetLife American Dream. Like it's just, you're like on a highway. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's why
it's kind of walkable.
It not really.
There's a tunnel.
No, you could walk. I shouldn't say
getting
that.
to the tunnel is not that easy.
It's not like. You're on a highway, you know what I mean? Like there's no park or
it's like inconvenient to walk all the way around to get to the tunnel.
It's not a pretty place to walk.
They probably have to build more infrastructure to make it walkable.
Like there's no like restaurants around there and stuff. You know what I mean?
You got a whole ass mall.
You do have a mall.
Beggars can't be choosers.
You have a Yard House at the mall, man.
Dude, Yard House smacks.
Yard House is good. Yard House is good.
I haven't been there yet.
Yeah.
No, I haven't been there. But
really good.
It feels like Seattle and Las Vegas are locks to get teams, so it doesn't make sense to like talk about other locations.
Should Vegas be a lock?
I think it should. I mean, it's one of the biggest markets in the United States.
Seattle's undeniably a lock to me, but I don't look at Vegas as a complete lock.
Who else would you have?
There's a lot of like Midwest cities or kind of Mid-East. I throw around on Twitter having fun. Kansas City's one. I think of Louisville. I don't think Cincinnati or Pittsburgh realistically could support another sports team as much as I would love to see a team in Pittsburgh. Although they also have an arena for people. Oh, yes, I would have to.
John
with the Nuggets, with Nikola Jokic for as long as he plays being my favorite player. But then I also think of a market in Mexico City, which is a challenge in some respects to travel. But you kind of wonder if the NBA was able to do that.
Toronto.
And then They do have Toronto. It's something that I think would be very interesting because it would open up it'd be like Pandora's box if you're able to get an NBA team in Mexico City. Just how giant that market is.
Ain't no way you saying Mexico City over Las Vegas, brother.
I am.
He's having fun. Can we have some fun?
Just give him some options.
I'm fine with this.
When I look at Las Vegas too with the in-season tournament, I don't think the camaraderie and the fan atmosphere has been that electric to where it's like, wow, this city is dying for a team. Yeah. I look at Seattle. I think there's such a strong culture there. They deserve another sports team. They had it. They had a great one.
Well, Seattle's a
franchise. We know that. And I'm saying there's a difference between them and Vegas. I don't think
Seattle taken away from them.
They really did.
Yeah, of course.
But that team is also goated, to be fair.
Yes.
Like, the OKC is lit.
I mean, Seattle sports culture is up there. They have the Mariners. They have the Seahawks. And, they got their team ripped away from them. So there is an ant to want to get a team back.
Yeah.
So the fanfare is going to be high. I don't think in Mexico. I mean, have you seen the Mexico City games? It doesn't feel like there's a lot of fanfare there.
You're being harsh.
I'm highlighting the opportunity for the NBA to expand into Mexico. That's what I'm saying. But when I look at Las Vegas, I just feel like it wouldn't be the most kind of rabid, or that's not the right word, most energetic or lively fan base. And I think there's
Vegas
some other Midwest cities that would be
I agree with that though. I don't love the Vegas idea personally.
I mean, Las Vegas Aces.
Yeah, I understand.
The Raiders has got an Allegiant Stadium there.
I don't know. There's part of me that just associates Vegas with one thing and one thing only.
Gambling.
That's it.
Well, Vegas is a tourism type of state.
It is.
That's why I say that. Tourist, and we're going to go put a team.
A lot of the people are highlighting how they want to change the city to being, especially as gambling's become more... It's become legalized and globalized across the country, turning Vegas into more of a communal area, a communal city, rather than just a place people go for tourism. Rather something that's actually like inviting families to move there and relocate. So getting sports teams in theory would add to that. Live.
I mean, that has been the case. So over the last 10
years,
years, the economy within itself, like this community in general, has grown in Vegas. There's more people that are building families in Las Vegas, and that is one of the city's long-term goals, is to make sure that it builds up that community. And I feel like a big market, it has a lot of tourism. When you have an NBA team in a location, you have to think about, will we have enough foot traffic to get enough ticket sales? And Vegas is one of those places that you feel like it's pretty obvious. Like, I mean, they have a lot of sports teams. They have the Aces, they have the Raiders. Don't they have a hockey team too?
Yes, the Golden Knights.
Yeah, and they're one of the best.
Vegas. I'm wearing the shirt underneath, believe it or not.
Here we go.
They've won a Stanley Cup, if I'm not mistaken. So they've
early on. Like
they've already supported big sports teams, and they have fans with theirs. So I think that NBA team would be fine.
The more fun question is, who gets bumped to the East? Minnesota?
Minnesota and Memphis.
Yeah. It would only be two.
We need two.
Yeah.
How much?
Because you're adding two West teams potentially.
Now Ant-Man's about to go to the West and dominate. You're scared?
I think it still would be one, though.
I'm tripping.
Huh?
I think it'll still be one, though, because you have 15 East teams and 15 West teams right now. If you add two West teams to the West, it's 17.
You're right.
So then it would be one team going to the East. I think it would be Minnesota over Memphis, because it makes sense. Bro, Minnesota's by Chicago. It's by Milwaukee.
Yeah.
It makes sense to have them in that division in the Eastern Conference.
I don't know. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I like...
I need New Jersey.
I like Minnesota going to the East.
I would love one East, one West. Keep
I mean, Kith is dropping a new, I think, a new line of clothing for the All-Star weekend, and they have some New Jersey Nets stuff there. Yeah, like the old school shit though, because it was like a 2000s theme kind of drop, and it looks fire, bro. I mean, the Nets colors and logo the Nets logo and
you miss
colors,
being a Nets fan.
I missed the logo and design of it.
They had cool jerseys, yeah.
Like the merchandise of it was amazing.
They're basically red, white, and blue.
Yeah, it was amazing, and I like the logo of it. It always looked really good. So I just feel like, them going rebranding to Brooklyn and having black and white and stuff.
Kind of dead. It was like the opposite of basically what they had. It was all colorful.
Exactly, because before when they used to be in New York, they had colors. It was very colorful. So
I mentioned Pittsburgh and Louisville before. The city I forgot to mention too is Baltimore, because they had an NBA team previously. It's a fantastic sports town, but of course having the Bolts move, they had the Bolts. So
who's the current NBA team now, or they don't have one?
Well, now we have one with the Wizards.
Washington with the Washington.
Oh, okay. So they used to be in Baltimore the Washington
Bullets,
Wizards,
and the Washington Bullets, and the Washington
It makes
Wizards.
sense though. That was right next to each other.
But yeah, you feel like now that fan base it's just gonna be all Wizard fans.
Yeah, they have their team.
Yeah, that it feels like everything in the DC area is like the DMV area is like pretty much similar to each other. But we have to talk about some of the things that happened in the NBA recently.
Have to.
Well, one of the things is the Cavaliers, they have started 3-0 with James Harden.
Pretty fun.
being added onto the team. Now,
You like
two
my
of the
video?
wins, you might not feel like they're that impressive against the Kings and the Wizards, but the one win against the Nuggets was very impressive. They had a slow start then in the fourth quarter. They really kicked up, and James Harden, I think, had 13 or 14 points in that fourth quarter. And Donovan Mitchell finished with over 30.
Donovan's been so consistent all year.
Yeah, he's been amazing. And since December 29th, Cleveland is number 1 in wins. They have a top 6 offensive rating.
December what?
December 29th.
Very specific, but I like it.
Yeah, since the new year, essentially. They have been the best team in the NBA, record-wise. They are top 6 in offensive rating and defensive rating. I think the Cavaliers are finding their footing. They started the season off as one of the most disappointing teams, and for good reason. They weren't playing good basketball. They weren't playing defense. They weren't hitting shots. But now they have basically cut their losses with Darius Garland, who's still nursing a toe injury, and his timetable to return with the Clippers is in question. With Lonzo Ball, they cut their losses. Now I look at the Cavaliers team that has been without Dean Wade, Evan Mobley, and Max Strus since Harden has been there. They have won 3 games in a row. And I think Harden lifts their ceiling up exponentially. The offensive upgrade is without question there because he's just a better floor general and he has better IQ than Garland. But defensively, he makes a much bigger impact because when you're 6'5" and 220 pounds versus somebody that's 6 foot 190, you can guard more positions. Kenny Atkinson loves to use these 3-guard lineups where he keeps Schroeder, Keon, and Harden on the floor, and sometimes he's subbing Mitchell into that lineup. And with Garland, that's not a viable defensive lineup because he's so small. But with Harden, he can size up and guard forward, sometimes even stretch into the forward position. He can do that. He had 2 crucial defensive stops against Jokic, helping in the post and getting a strip and having a steal in transition where he went out and got a layup. So I think Harden not only raises their floor on offense, but on defense. He's improved them mightily on both ends. And Cleveland, if they're healthy, they can make the NBA Finals. I think they're up there with any Eastern Conference team, especially when you think about what they're going to get back. They're going to get back Mobley, Strus, and Dean Wade. It's going to make them so much better. And I think the Cavaliers team that we expected come into the season with different personnel now, they are as much of a contender as anybody in the East.
It's been fun to watch this Cavaliers team with James Harden on the court. And it's funny because when you think about James Harden, obviously defense never comes to mind. And it's no shade to him. It's because his offense is all-time great. The longevity that he's shown has been pretty under the radar as well because he is towards the later part of his career and he just continues to be one of the most efficient playmakers in the game. But you're not too far off when you talk about defense whatsoever. Garland is undersized. He gives effort, but the undersized guard is unfortunately in its way kind of being phased out, unfortunately, unless you're bringing otherworldly offense, which some players do bring. For example, a Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, who's not the tallest, even though he's listed as 6'4" allegedly.
Now he's 6'1". He just has 7 foot wingspan.
Okay,
so he covers more ground than your average.
Who am I thinking
player.
that we just spoke about that was 6'4"? That I can't think of.
Keontae
George, that's who it was. But yeah, Donovan Mitchell is undersized, but he's just an elite scorer of the basketball. If you're not one of those, and now you're also becoming a liability on the defensive side of the ball, it's hard to be a focal point in an offense, and it's hard to be consistently on the court where you're being a plus to your team. James Harden just provides a little bit more size, and you're right. He is a better playmaker. He's a better scorer. He's more available. It made sense why the Cavaliers want to do this because you traded 5 first-round picks for Donovan Mitchell. You wanted to ensure that you were going to maximize your window while you had him on your team. When Mobley comes back, I'm really excited to see what this defense looks like. Jared Allen's been playing excellent basketball. That's on me for not realizing that sooner that James Harden and Jared Allen was going to be a movie. That should have just been obvious. Look at what happened with him and Zubac. Yeah. But I got to give credit to Allen. He's been playing great basketball with Harden as well. But this offense is starting to hit its stride. The defense, when Mobley comes back, I can only assume that starts to figure things out. I think who also benefits in their offensive game, obviously, is Evan Mobley. What is that pick and roll going to look like? How much easier looks is Evan Mobley going to have near the basket as well? So this offense can be fun. I don't hate your take at all in terms of coming out of the East. I respect the Knicks a lot, obviously, so I would favor the Knicks. I think that when the two have matched up, the Knicks have played a good brand of basketball. Them acquiring Jeremy Shohan. I'm not sure if that moves the needle for me so much so, especially who the player Jeremy has been at this point in his career. We all expect him to be a little bit better. He was kind of that player that everybody was just like, underrated. This guy's great. He can do a little bit of everything. Never really panned out to be that, but I'm interested to see how he looks with the Knicks. But to put a bow on it, the Cavaliers have been playing strong basketball in these 3 games, and I think it starts with Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell has been their best player all season long, but with Harden, his game can only be a little bit easier because of how much spacing he provides.
I'll say I was rude. And when we were in San Fran will get smoked out.
Well, you were ignorant. That's what you were.
I think I was rude.
Yes.
Ignorant TBD. I mean, they could lose. Anyone
Smoked
could lose.
out was
You said
strong.
they're more likely to lose in the first round.
Then get to the conference finals.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it still could easily be true. They could still not get to the conference finals. You know what I mean?
Is it a strong take? Yes. Is it far-fetched?
I think
It's far-fetched.
What they are now is you have to make your pick on what they do in the second round. Because right now, as it stands, they have a strong chance, very strong, to be top 4 in the East. They could finish as high as probably the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. So that means they'll match up with one of those bottom 4 teams, right? Whether that's going to be Toronto, Philly, one of the playing teams, Magic, Hornets, whoever it might end up being. It really depends what you think they're going to do in that second round. Because I think they've shown, especially the last month or so, they have the talent and should be able to get past the first round. It's really, what does James Harden do that changes this team from what Darius Garland does? I think defensively, although it's funny we're talking about James Harden defense, I think that just shows more about Darius Garland, his deficiencies, just because of his size, and it's easy to, to hunt him, especially when you have bigger wings and just bigs in general, or bigger guards that can go and go downhill and attack him. But he is just, on a basis, he's bigger, he's stronger, he's longer than Darius Garland. So sure, he's an upgrade defensively. Offensively, I do think he's an upgrade just because Harden has shown to be a floor raiser. It's different than what Garland gives you, right? When it comes to just how he fits with Donovan Mitchell. Both of them are guys that are going to want the ball in their hands, as well as Garland, even though I think Garland is going to do a bit more just off ball than James Harden does, just stylistically. But then beyond that, it really comes down to the other guys. Like, can the role players stay healthy? They haven't been able to stay healthy recently, as
Very true.
on top of the, their star players. And then Evan Mobley. Mobley has had that quote unquote breakout season, more just progressing last year. But in the playoffs, we saw he wasn't the same version of himself. So there's still, to me, a lot of questions that revolve around this Cavaliers team. But Joel, you're good at what you do. When you say they could come out of the Eastern Conference, I could sit here and argue all I want about how much I don't trust them and all the questions that they have, but I think you can make the argument for basically every team in the East, right? We talked about this on the last basketball episode, but do you really trust Detroit? Who's their number 2? Do you trust Boston with Tatum maybe or maybe not coming back? Do you trust New York and their defensive deficiencies? And beyond that, I think it's a bit of a dark horse.
I get the point you're making.
It's just
funny.
like, I understand what you're coming from, because the argument for you is X, Y, and Z. All these teams have questions. The Cavs have questions too, but everyone has questions, So I get where you're coming from. I definitely get it. And again, you're good at what you do. You can make that argument, and I can't really argue against it.
I love where you're coming from, because he's essentially laying out to you, are the Cavs coming out of the East? Yes or no? That's what he's saying. You're saying they could.
Sure, they could.
They could.
4 teams could probably
I think
come
Philly
out.
could.
5 teams,
Right?
sure.
Philly
5.
could.
Well, I think the fact that we went from saying that the Cavaliers would lose
good
to
turnaround, too.
a Tatumless Celtics to
They
you
still,
thinking
they still could lose.
So you,
Let's get it clear.
No,
they
can't.
still
They
could
could
lose.
lose to a Tatumless.
So the Cavaliers, if they're healthy, no way, shape, or form would lose to a Tatumless
No
Celtics
way,
team in the
shape,
playoffs.
or
No way.
form?
So that's
way.
a 5-game series, is what you're telling me.
Yeah,
Okay.
they would smoke
What are
them.
you
What have you
saying?
seen
They
this
would
year
smoke
from
them.
Boston that would make you think that?
If they get Evan Mobley back, if they're fully healthy,
I
yeah,
guess,
the Cavaliers
sure.
would easily win that series.
Okay,
I'm not even
so
questioning
interesting, because Jaylen Brown himself posted this. You saw this?
Yeah, they're basically basically
so
the same. from
last
season.
year, they are 39-16. This year, they are 35-19. They were the 2nd seed last year. They're the 2nd seed this year.
Up to the All-Star break. This is
Correct, at the All-Star break. They were the 4th seed. They're the 4th in offensive rating going to All-Star break. They're 2nd in offensive rating. They were 5th in defensive rating. They're 9th in defensive rating. Slight fall off. Tatum's defense obviously matters. 3rd in net rating. 3rd in net rating.
Is that supposed to tell me
enough.
that the
All
Celtics
it's
this year are
saying
better
that-
than last year?
That's not at all what's saying. They're still an amazing team.
Yes, they're still an
They would
amazing
get
team.
washed in 5.
Washed is
The
nuts.
Celtics have played amazing basketball in the regular season. With as many of
The Celtics are a regular season team now.
the amount of players they have on the roster now, most of them have not played in the playoffs. Can Jordan Walsh continue to keep up his 3-point shooting and be consistent
Okay.
in the playoffs?
Okay.
Can
So
Payne
I'm
Pritchard?
relying
No,
on Harden
you're
and
literally-
Mobley and
yeah,
Jared
you-
Allen.
you're getting worst
James
case
Harden is
scenario.
more reliable than what the fuck than Jordan Walsh?
Of course,
right.
yes.
What
Jordan Walsh.
what are you
We have-
arguing?
You
No,
have Derek
no.
White, you have Jalen Brown before you get to Payne Pritchard, before you get to fucking Jordan Walsh.
But we're saying
My God,
you said
Joel.
number one with the Tatumless Celtics team. I think that's wrong. You literally admitted just now you could see the Cavaliers making the finals.
No, I said your argument is smart
No,
because
that's
I
all
think
he's
there's
saying,
4 to 5
correct.
So
teams
you
that
think
should
the,
come.
so you think
no,
the
are they going
Cavaliers
to come out or not? I don't give a fuck if they could come out. Are they going to come
do you think
out?
the Cavaliers are going to get smoked in the first round?
Smoke? No, I think there'll be a
Do you
second
think
round
they're
exit.
losing? Okay,
I think there'll be a
so
second round
who?
exit.
So who?
I
You
think
think-
any of the teams I
You think
mentioned.
any of the teams in the Pistons and the Knicks and
Pistons,
the
Knicks,
Celtics?
Boston.
The Pistons
Sixers
are
could beat them.
Sure.
Not far-fetched.
Sixers get past
no.
the first round, though.
The Detroit Pistons, they in the regular season have been amazing because they are an elite level defense. Their offensive woes in the playoffs are a serious question mark, especially the spacing around Cade Cunningham. If you double and trap Cade for a series, who else on the Pistons do you trust with the ball in their hands to consistently put pressure on the defense? That is a real question mark that they're going to have. The Knicks, I think their defensive woes
He's doing what I
have.
said.
I know.
They're-
No,
they're-
that's exactly what his argument was, though.
their defensive. Well, I don't care about what his argument was. At the end of the day, right now this is February 12th. This February 12th. I'm not gonna make my Eastern Conference prediction right now.
could.
I've already done it with the West because I feel very confident in a healthy Denver Nuggets
But
team.
that's nuts to say too, because OKC is not healthy either.
But my entire argument though, and this is where you're trying to make me argue something against what I believe, because I still believe in the Knicks. I still believe in my Knicks a lot. And we got Mohamed Diawara, who's been playing amazing basketball. Jeremy Sohan just got added. Jose Alvarado just got added.
Elite
He played
add.
amazing 20 points off the bench against Philly. We smoked Philly. So I'm not giving up on my Knicks, but to just completely ignore that Cleveland is within the same tier, I thought the other day from you was stupid. And that's what you did the other day.
before they played a single game with one another, that's
I
stupid.
still have,
What
I
did you
still
think it
have
was gonna
real
be?
question
That's my
marks
honest
about
question.
Cleveland.
James Harden, he has literally floor raised the Clippers the last couple of seasons he's been there. He's an all-star this year. What did you think he was going to go to Cleveland and be worse and make the team worse?
No, not at all.
So if anything, like, are you surprised by how they're playing?
I mean, first of all, it's been 3 games, and 2 of the games,
And
like
they
you
beat
mentioned, was
Denver.
the Wizards and the Kings. They beat
They beat
Denver.
Denver.
Absolutely. I'm not taking a 3-game sample and being like, I'm throwing everything out the window and be like, no, the Cavs should be the favorite to come out the East. I just like you're breaking down all these question marks for these teams. You have the same question marks about Cleveland
The Cavaliers' question marks
Our health.
are all durability related.
and
that's
performance
fair.
in the playoffs.
Performance,
That's also
Donovan
fair.
Mitchell.
Outside
but
of Mitchell,
the
it's
performance,
outside of Mitchell.
health and
the
30%
performance in the
Agreed. I
playoffs
agree
for
with
the
that, John.
Cavaliers, because they have lost in back-to-back seasons in the second round. Most of their playoff performances where they lay duds is in byproduct of the injuries they've had. Donovan Mitchell against the Pacers,
Which is fair to ask, though.
having an ankle injury. Evan Mobley having an ankle injury.
this is fair for him to
DeAndre
question.
Hunter in the
I
playoffs
agree with
was
him.
injured.
He's-
Darius
it's
Garland
fair to argue
was injured in the
that
second
health
round.
matters when you think about the
but
Cavaliers.
This is the thing with
No?
with the Pistons, my question mark becomes about their offense and the shooting. It's a basketball related
But
thing.
defense transfers to the postseason.
Yes, it does, but offense matters a lot. And
But
you
their
have
offense
to,
is
you have
already
to be able
mid
to
still,
score.
and they still are the best team in the East.
That can be exacerbated in the playoffs when you have with the spacing provided with Cade. If they're gonna aggressively trap Cade more in the playoffs than they are in the regular season. With the Cavaliers, most of their question marks are durability related, because if they're healthy, I don't question Donovan Mitchell's performance. James Harden, yeah, he'll give you bad games in the playoffs. He'll also give you great games.
He will.
He averaged 20 points
It's
and
just
9
how
assists.
what do you get?
in
Do you get
Denver.
5 great
And
games? Do you
also
get 2
this-
good great
And
games?
also, this is not, and this is where I need to shut this down right now. How far the Cavaliers go is really not James Harden reliant. James Harden has a
agree.
role in it, but James Harden came to Cleveland to do exactly that,
He's the
to
third most
play a
scoring player.
role, to initiate, to make sound decisions offensively. So far through 3 games, they have a 126.7 offensive rating when he's on the floor. That's what he was brought there to do. Donovan Mitchell is the leading scorer of this team. So a lot of how far Cleveland goes is how far Donovan Mitchell takes them. Evan Mobley is a big part of that. And then you get into James Harden. I think that Mobley and Donovan Mitchell are the two keys. I'm not asking 36, 37-year-old James Harden to come in here and say, you're the guy, we're riding on you. So as long as he initiates and makes sound decisions throughout a series, even if he's not shooting the best, he can make a positive impact. And I think that he will do that. So I have not seen anything from James Harden over the last couple of seasons to where he's going to be trash in the playoffs for a series.
I think the complete opposite is true. If James Harden isn't shooting well and his shot isn't going in, that's when we see him deteriorate and he turns the ball over and he makes poor decisions and he lacks defensively even more than he can. When Harden's shot isn't going and offensively he's not right, his whole game falls apart.
I disagree.
Maybe that's okay because he's the 3 now instead of a 2.
Versus
No,
Celtics,
in Philly we saw it constantly.
In Philly, correct.
James Harden's game doesn't deteriorate with that. When he's not making shots, of course, it's going to be evident that he's not making shots. He's still making sound decisions with the basketball. And
the Philly series,
the Philly
it's some years ago. If you want to say
right.
it's because he's number 3 now, maybe it won't happen. Fine, sure.
Well,
but to say if his shot's not falling, he's still going to do all this other stuff. When I see throughout his history in the playoffs, that's not the case.
In the Philly series, they mostly lost. I mean, they blew a lead in Game 6. Game 7 was a complete washing. But to even get to that point, James Harden had to have 2 outlandish performances with Joel Embiid not playing for them to even get 2 wins. Yeah. He was the sole reason they got 2 wins. So if you want to put a microscope,
no, I know this.
Okay,
Harden gives you some high highs.
We can't praise him for having 2 good games, and then when we need you to have one more good one, you couldn't.
Well, I can praise him for that as well. I can praise him for his good games, and I could also criticize him for his bad ones. Okay. And he does deserve praise for being the sole reason they won 2 games in that series. That series went to 7. They won one other game.
I'm with you, though.
They won 2 games because of him in that series.
Yeah, he hoops.
And is it crazy to ask from Joel Embiid, the MVP, to close it out after Harden took you that far? I mean, yeah, it's very reasonable to ask of Joel Embiid.
My argument is not... I think the argument is getting lost here. My argument is not... Is James Harden going to give you 7 good playoff games? I know James Harden's going to have some games in the playoffs where he shows up and he has some games when he doesn't. My argument is when he has those games he doesn't, I don't think he does anything else well. I think his shit falls apart for him.
I think that's completely false because I've watched every single James Harden game in his career. Most of what he provides is, of course, offensive value. That's what he provides. So if he's not making the shots, of course, it's going to take a hindrance, but he is still making sound decisions with the basketball, even when his shot is not falling. So I disagree with that. He is still reading where to go with the basketball and making right reads and right passes, even if his shot is not falling. So I disagree with that. The difference between James Harden now and James Harden in Philly, and this is why I'm excited about Cleveland, because this has become a James Harden-centric thing where in all, he just has to be more reliable than Garland, which I think he will be, because not having another reliable ball handler, which they weren't going to have if Garland was on this team still, was really was going to hold them back. But James Harden, this is the most complete roster. This is his best chance of going to the finals since the Nets. The Cavaliers roster is really fucking good. And that's what more so I'm trying to get you to realize. Something that is made into a James Harden-centric thing. It's really about you realizing the Cavaliers are really freaking good.
I think
there's a reason why they were the number 1 seed last year. They started slow this year, but the silver linings of that number 1 seed have showed up with this team as of recently. When you have James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Tyson, and Sam Merrill, who are both top 5 in 3-point percentage this season. Evan Mobley, a top 5 defender in basketball. Jared Allen playing at an all-star level. They have 4 all-star level players. And then Dennis Schroeder, Keon Ellis, Max Strus, Dean Wade, who's one of the more I said Jalen Tyson, but thank you for that. Dean Wade, who's one of the more versatile defenders, who's 6'10", he can guard up, he can guard down as well. They legitimately have 10 really good, that you feel comfortable about, rotational playoff players. This isn't a team that lacks depth and is just top heavy. No, this is a complete all-around team that also has a great head coach. So that is where my confidence in Cleveland comes from, because they, from a basketball perspective, they have very little flaws. They do.
You tell me, John.
A microcosm, and then John, I will shut up happily. Microcosm of James Harden over these last few years in the playoffs. the Dallas series while he's on the Clippers. So this is recent. This is 2 years ago. He goes 12 for 17, 71% from the field, has 33 points, 2 turnovers, 7 assists. Objectively amazing game. This is on the road to tie the series at 2-2. You go back home, they get absolutely smoked. He goes 2 for 12 from the field, 4 turnovers. I get what he's saying.
But what? No.
The point is,
he has great games and bad games.
Don't know what version of him you're going to get.
And I'm not trying to make this a Harden thing.
I know that Harden is going to play well for 50% of the series.
Turn into one.
I know Harden's going to play well for 50% of the series.
The big reason why everybody is excited about the Cavaliers, and rightfully so, let's not minimize it, is because of James Harden.
Of course.
Because he's an all-timer.
But James Harden...
So this is automatically going to turn into a James Harden conversation, and it automatically is going to revert back to what he's shown us to be in the playoffs, which is unfortunately for him an untrustworthy player.
It's a solid player. There are players that
Agreed.
If we nitpick other players in the playoffs, we will find bad closeout games. We will find bad home games. We will find all of that stuff.
Agreed.
We will. If you look at the Clippers when they faced Denver in the last playoffs, the offensive rating with Harden on the floor was bigger than with Kawhi, because if you watch that series, Kawhi had the one blow up game, but for the most part,
pretty mid.
You were left wondering, why doesn't Harden have the ball more? Because the offense is flowing better with him.
I agree
because
with you.
the ball got stuck with Kawhi Leonard. Yeah. So Harden will have hot and he'll have cold games. Yeah. At the most part, I know that he's going to make the right decisions. He's going to go to the right places with the basketball. At that point, it's a matter of him making and missing shots. But with the amount of spacing that he has on the Cavaliers right now, where they have so many amazing three-point shooters, they have a legit scorer in Donovan Mitchell who can get his bucket off in any spot and draw defenses to him. They have Evan Mobley and Jared Allen who are vertical threats.
For sure.
Like, James Harden's job now, objectively, has become easier than with the Clippers when they didn't have much spacing.
Without a doubt.
Like, now you're going from the spacing of the Clippers with Derrick Jones Jr. and then Chris Dunn starting because he needs to play defense, to Sam Merrill and Jalen Tyson and Donovan Mitchell.
They got knocked down.
It is a big difference. Yeah. So for me, I think that Harden, at the very least, is going to give you 20 points and 8 to 9 assists per game in the playoffs. I think there'll be one series where he's amazing. You'll have some down games, cool, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. But I think the real reason why Cleveland can go far is because they have an amazing team. And Harden, of course, helps that out.
Yeah, and they have the same blueprint that last year generated 64 wins. And the reason things fell off the tracks was because of injuries. Like we talked about earlier in the segment, the start to this year was mainly a byproduct of guys coming back like Darius Garland, not being in the lineup to start the season, then working his way back. And then in this trade where you're swapping a player that's 10 years older than one of your franchise cornerstones, the crux of that to me, while I agree with what you guys laid out before, is that Harden is on the floor. That is the number one thing for a team that is trying to compete for a championship. And I agree with what you said before. This is the most wide open East we have seen in quite some time with the injuries. And so that catapults James Harden to a chance, the best chance he's had realistically since that 2021 Nets team. And I look at this Cavalier lineup and I love a lot of what the pieces are around him. You have the shooting. Jalen Tyson making 47% of his threes off the catch this year. Now he plays with a guard who every single night is going to be that high level to elite playmaker. And even in Harden's poor moments, a lot of the time we've seen it in Philly specifically, that was magnified because Embiid was not on the floor. He's still the second creator on this team. That's what his role will be.
Sure.
But last year in that Clippers series, like you highlighted, he was more consistent than Kawhi. And that was one of his better playoff series. He played well. He showed a lot in the mid-range area against a Nugget team that in the pick and roll was giving that. And he was kind of taking advantage of that for the better part of that series. So when I look at the Eastern Conference, the Pistons are the best team right now, but they are not invincible by any stretch. They have deficiencies. They did not necessarily address them at the deadline. The Cavaliers said, you know what? This is not working. A lot of people like me saw him make that trade, and I said, I don't see the vision because I like having my 25-year-old guard for the long term. The Cavaliers looked at this differently. They said by getting James Harden, we can go to the finals this year. And that to me has kind of been, it's only supported by the supporting cast that they have. The fact that Evan Mobley comes back after the All-Star break, and Jared Allen's going to be a better version of himself with Harden.
I agree.
So I'm excited to see how the front court hopefully plays better and shows up in the postseason, because they really haven't always showed up. Like I said before, it's been 70% injuries and 30% this team is not stepping up. It's a cliche, somewhat casual thing to say, but it's the truth. This Cavalier team, in big moments when they've had to rely on Evan Mobley and they've had to count on Jared Allen to be better, they have sunk. And they've been outplayed by guys like Mitchell Robinson who have taken over games versus them when they shouldn't be. So I'm excited to see how this Cavalier team builds off this when you get Mobley back, but also you made a great point. It's a 9 to 10 man rotation that you can trust these guys. Keon Ellis is only playing 20 minutes per game, but I think he's going to be even better when you kind of get him into the flow and you get him acclimated. He's building chemistry with these guys. So right now, like the Eastern Conference, I agree with you, Joel. This is the second best team to me. Boston can, if injuries are always going to play a role with every team, I could see the Cavaliers dealing with some injuries, and it's not that much different of an outcome than last year. But when you look at the top 4 of the Eastern Conference, to me, I give them a very real chance to make it to the finals this year.
The 9-10 team, the 9-10 player team,
Rotation.
It's nice in theory. Because reality, come playoff time, the lineup shrink. That's natural.
Yeah.
But it's always great to have depth, especially when you're the Cavaliers.
When you
So
have a lot
that's
of injuries,
definitely
it's
part of
needed.
it. Exactly.
I'm
I
taking
agree
that
with
into account, though. I mean, I've seen Dennis Schroeder play well in the playoffs. I think
I love Dennis Schroeder.
he's a playoff rotation player.
100%.
I think Dean Wade is a playoff rotation player. Max Strus, I think, is a playoff rotation player.
Shown
So
it.
they're not 10.
He killed y'all.
They're not 10 theoretical players in which I'm like, I have to think and project and see them in the playoffs.
Fair.
Like most of Boston's bench. It's
Oh, wow.
It's players I know have been
was
on that
necessary?
stage and that they've played well in that stage. With Boston, you have the top guys, but a lot of those younger players, they really haven't had meaningful minutes in the postseason.
Well, you're asking them not to do much. Like Hugo and Keita and Walsh, like they're more defensive stoppers, gritty, rebounding. You're not asking them to do really anything at all offensively except maybe catch and shoot, if that.
I mean, Joe Harris wasn't asked to do much offensively. He missed all his threes.
I was going to say
So,
Casey Wallace.
You know,
is
that
one
can
comes to
happen.
mind too.
Basic
You know,
foul.
that can happen.
Casey Wallace went into that series and he was great defensively. Couldn't hit a jumper to save his life.
So sometimes that matters. And I'm not saying the Celtics bench is going to play poorly in the playoffs, but it's more so we have to see them do that, because there's plenty of times where you kind of just chalk up that a guy's going to play well in the playoffs because all you got to do is hit open shots. And they don't hit open shots. So the playoffs are a different animal. It's volatile. It's a low sample size. And that's what it is. It's a make or miss league. But I think Cleveland, like, they have 10 real dudes who I've seen in the postseason. They've played well. So that's the difference. Orlando is a team I want to talk about because they lost to the Bucks, and Cam Thomas had an amazing game in which Giannis was smiling from cheek to cheek
Losing
when he hit
Bucks
the
to no
dagger.
Giannis, man. You gotta be relegated or some shit. I don't know.
I think Cam Thomas, like, he is really good for the Bucks because they need some scoring, and he's like the best guy available, so it's good for them.
Mini
We'll
Dean.
see when Giannis comes back. But for Orlando, the fourth quarter was a disaster, and more so for Paolo Banchero. He was awful with his shots. I think went 0 for 6 or 0 for 7.
I think.
One in the fourth quarter. He had turnovers, and now it's leading to a question because the Magic this year have been mid, and a lot of that is due to injury. Franz Wagner has missed, a boatload of games. Paulo has missed like 10 plus games. So they are not the healthiest, and that's kind of been the story for Orlando every year. But I think it begs the question that if Orlando, and that's really the team we got to talk about being like a first round exit, if Orlando is a first round exit again after acquiring Desmond Bane, you have to look at one of those guys on the roster that's making a lot of money and asking yourself, are we going to run it back or are we going to trade one of these dudes? And it feels like it's between Paulo and Franz. And at this point, I mean, you guys know where I've stood on Paulo. I think everybody's starting to realize what it is with Paulo. But, I mean, Paulo's just been underwhelming in his development and his shot selection for being as tall as he is, as strong as he is, such a poor paint finisher. There are just a lot of things in Paulo's game that I don't think translate to a true transcendent first overall pick franchise star. And the Magic have banked into that a lot. And right now it's just not panning out in the way that they'd like it to.
It's unfortunate, truthfully, because he does have all the tools to be the player that everybody thinks that he can be. But it does boil down to one simple thing. His shot selection is super questionable. He does not know what's a go-to that he can rely on consistently. He has the talent. He has the attributes to be great. He's a great passer. He's a great playmaker for the position that he plays. You mentioned the size, the athleticism. What I hold on to, and I'll admit it, I'm very honest about it when I talk about Paolo. His playoff resume is impressive, albeit 2 series, 2 very impressive ones against 2 high-quality opponents in the Cavaliers with Evan Mobley, who guarded him exceedingly well. The regular box score numbers say Paolo played great, but when Evan Mobley played on him, it was evident. Mobley showed that he is one of the best defenders in the world. And then against the Celtics, Paolo played extremely well. So that's where I kind of fall back to for the moments. He rises. It's just the every other night game during the regular season that you don't know what version of Paolo Banchero you're going to get. I think that as he grows older, the game will become a little bit easier because naturally you play, you get smarter. You just would have liked to see it quicker. And if you're the Magic, you banked on it being this year. We give up 5 first-round picks because we think you're the guy. We think you, Franz Bain, is enough to get over this hump of not being a locked every single season top 4 team in the East. And with the Pacers going to the NBA Finals last year, what's the excuse for us not to go? Because now everybody's going to point the finger at Paolo because all the advanced stats favor that Franz is the more efficient player, that the offense and the defense are just better with Franz on the court. When Paolo, we know the talent he has, it's just the inconsistencies that kill. He doesn't have the greatest consistent jump shot, and I think that he thinks that he's a much better jump shooter than he is. And his ability not to finish at the basket at a high enough clip does not justify him settling for jump shots either. So I think it's just a matter of him locking in and figuring out what is going to get me a consistent bucket. For the Magic, I still like where it's headed. I think Desmond Bane's been playing pretty strong basketball. It's just health is a huge concern when you talk about the Orlando Magic. So when we talk about the Magic, it's going to be the obvious finger pointing at Paolo, which I think is fair to a certain extent, but the 2 guys can't stay healthy. And that's the real concern.
I don't think it comes down to just one individual player because when I look at this Magic offense, to me, what they lack is a cohesive identity. And when you mentioned the draft capital that they poured into Desmond Bane this offseason, none of this has come together naturally. They're 28th in three-point percentage. Their offense is not taking that gigantic step forward that many expected, adding one of the best shooters in the league.
Yep.
And Paolo, of course, has stagnated in a way, in a sense that his mid-range shooting, which is also a part of his game, it's been very disappointing. And the finishing is not taking that progressive step forward. And we all look at the players, Franz, Paolo, and I think most of the blame has been put on Paolo. He is in a very significant slump given the expectation that people had. But I don't believe nearly enough people acknowledge the fact the infrastructure and the system is what you should replace before just having a knee-jerk reaction saying it's got to be a player we're trading away. To me, I would say the Magic this year, they clearly have not taken that big step forward. To me, I think it's time to find a more innovative and kind of open-minded offensive coach.
Okay.
Someone who will elevate these players. Jamal Mosley is a good defensive coach, but he's not the coach that's going to take this team from point B to point C. So I think in a way, it's very lazy to say, Paolo is the main reason for these issues, but we're going to keep the same head coach, we're going to keep the same offensive structure, and we're just going to pin all the blame on the 23-year-old, who is a kind of his traits and his skills.
Yes, I agree.
Shows this untapped potential, but he's still a raw player that maybe has not developed at the rate that people would hope, given the fact he was the first overall pick.
I'm with you.
So when I look at this Magic team, I think it's very frustrating in a sense that people want to pin the blame on one player, and you can't necessarily do that. Some people just throw it all on Paolo. Franz Wagner has not necessarily been his best version of himself.
Agreed.
Last year, when he was healthy, at least the last 2 years, he was better himself. I think it starts with the coaching, and it works its way down. To me, that is a big reason why it's not just Paolo. This entire rotation is stagnated. And then you have guys like Jalen Suggs who are in and out the lineup. So
But he's been healthy this year.
Suggs, he's played 33 games, and you can't rely on him to play those 35 minutes a night because you're afraid he's going to get hurt again.
That defense is special.
Of course, that's why they have to rely on Anthony Black, who's been the one positive, the one silver lining, because it has Jalen Suggs played, yes, but you also know for a fact he's not reliable to stay on the floor for 70 games if he's playing the same workload as a Marcus Smart. If he's playing 32 to 34 minutes, he is an injury-prone player. So to me, no, he's not someone I depend on as my starting point.
So how you, Mr. John Tortorelli, having the seat of being the Magic's general manager, navigate an offseason in which next year you are without a doubt a second apron team?
Pray.
Because you're saying it's not about blowing it up, it's about bringing somebody new. And I do agree, Jamal Mosley's time is ticking in Orlando, but this is also a team that is very clearly went all in. They're going to be a second apron team because of Paolo's extension kicking in relatively soon.
Yeah.
So now you got to get below that. And it's going to come down to trading one of the big contracts on the team.
Jalen Suggs.
He's been the most impactful player this year.
At the end of the day, when you look at the injury concerns, it's not someone I trust long term in that second and third contract. And no, I'm not trading Paolo Banchero at 23 opposed to giving him an extension and giving these young players every chance, these core pillars in Franz and Paolo, the chance to prove themselves together. But to me, I think it starts with the head coach, and I would choose Anthony Black long term over Jalen Suggs because of those durability questions.
And you also don't have to pay Anthony Black as of right now.
I think there's there's a fear here, and then you could chime in on the deals. There's a fear here that we're seeing a Tatum and Jaylen Brown 2.0 scenario.
That's always been the comp.
In which neither of these guys are either of those two players. And I think that's the biggest difference. They might be similar height. They might have similar physical tools, but they're not those players. And that's why I think that holding out to that idea that they can be that is misguided.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about the comparisons between them and the Jays, and I know a lot of Magic fans feel the same way, where it's like, Boston, you were patient with them, and, you were able to build around them, and you got different coaches in and all of that. But the Boston duo also showed you in the playoffs that we could go on runs, like we can make ECFs even when things aren't right around us, and we have these weird lineups and weird rosters and coaches in or out. Like they had shown consistently to minimum make the playoffs, win playoff series, make an ECF, and the Magic just haven't been able to show that. I'm not out. I don't think any of us saying we're out on Paolo. Just turned 23 years old, and it's difficult because you see so many young players today progress so quickly. And we think of progression as linear, and more often than not, it's not linear. So when you see someone like Paolo, who number one overall pick, the skill set, 6'10", everything there, you want to see him be better than he is right now, right? Like he's averaging his career low since his rookie season. He's around 20 points per game. The efficiency hasn't improved. I think just his internal speed hasn't gotten better. Like he still is a good playmaker, but you would hope that he's picking up on things quicker, but a lot of the times he gets the ball and he's kind of like, trying to figure things out instead of it just coming naturally to him. So I think a lot of the frustrations that we've seen with Paolo over the last few years are still there, and we want him to get better at this, and it just hasn't happened. Part of that, I think, is a lot due to injuries. He just hasn't been on the court enough. He hasn't been practicing enough. I think part of that is just still the spacing, right? You talked about their lack of shooting even after getting Jalen Suggs healthy, even after trading for Desmond Bane. It's still not a very well-spaced team. And then the coaching with Jamal Mosley, right? I don't think Jamal Mosley is an offensive innovator by any means. For being honest, this is a team that had been a top 2 defense the last 2 years. Now they're middle of the pack, right? We're talking about offense and how their shooting's not there, but like defensively, they've fallen off a cliff as well. So it's difficult to to paint this as anything other than like a negative picture for the Orlando Magic, because you did go all in, right? If you didn't make this move for Desmond Bane and you didn't just pay Paolo Banchero $250 million, I think it's okay to sit here and be like, no, you got to be patient. You got to let this ride out. But like Joel is saying, this is a second apron team next year, right? It's okay to be a second apron team if you're making ECF and finals pushes and you have multiple top 10, top 20 players on your team. The Magic don't have that, right? Like we don't even know if they have a top 15 player. We think there could be a day that Franz or Paolo can be those guys, but right now they just aren't showing it. So you have a mixture of just a lot of things going wrong for a super expensive team. And I think the number one thing they will do is they'll fire Jamal Mosley, and they'll try to sell us and try to sell the fans on, we're going to bring in this new coach who's going to figure out offense and make Paolo and Franz and all of this work together. When realistically, I think it just goes deeper than that. Like, I think you have a serious problem with Paolo and Franz not being able to mesh. Neither of them are really consistent shooters. Neither of them can consistently stay healthy. And then the role players like a Jalen Suggs also can't stay healthy. So it's really an organizational issue where you went all in on Desmond Bane, you gave up all this draft capital, and you paid all these guys already, and you just don't have nothing to show for it.
Shit, that sucks that Bane's been really playing.
Bane's been awesome, and it's not even like, that's not a shot at Desmond Bane. You gave up the 5 first, and he's holding up his end of the bargain, but he was supposed to be the third piece. He was supposed to be the chess piece that you had a lot of these other things figured out, and that's been the bigger issue.
You made a great point that their defense has taken a big step back.
Yeah.
And a big reason for that is your 2 best defenders can't play 30 minutes a night. They can't consistently be on the floor to close games night in, night out. And I think that's a very big part of it as well. And I think the Jalen Suggs element not shooting the ball. I expect him to shoot not as well as he did in that small sample size. I believe it was a year ago, close to 40%. I expect him to make 36% of his threes, kind of league average, and he's dipped well below that. So
He's
I
only
think
shot well 1 year.
correct. As good as a
Jalen
defender as
Suggs
he
is
is,
such a disruptor, though. That
as good
I'm
as of a
fine.
defender as he is, I think this is the
32.
offseason to capitalize on what value is left, because that is $32 million in the books. That would get you to 190 next year, opposed to 200.
Jalen Suggs is the
Three.
biggest positive of the Magic this year. He has the best on-off splits of anybody on
I
the
mean, he
Magic.
can't play 30 minutes a night.
I'm going to say Desmond Bane's
that's
been
small
the number
sample
one
size.
player for them. Consistency.
When he's been on the floor, it's been clear like he just makes such a big difference.
His
And
defense is amazing. I agree.
here's the thing, bro, is like you need to make tough decisions. I think that it's smarter for organizations to go off a player a year too early than a year too late. The same things that's being said about Paolo with the playoff performances being great. That's the same thing I heard about John Morant as to why people always held out hope for him long term. Well, man, his playoff series are amazing. They're exceptional. And then we saw him just regress year to year. I'm looking at Paolo. For 4 years in Orlando, he's been a negative for them. When he's on the floor, he's a negative. They are better. The Magic are better as a team when he's off the floor. I look at who he is as a player because sometimes the on and off numbers can be tricky. So therefore, okay, let me evaluate you as an individual. Paolo Banchero is one of the worst volume scorers from an efficiency perspective in the NBA. He's a poor finisher. He's a poor mid-range shooter. He's a poor three-point shooter. He's a poor decision maker. Building around Paolo is difficult because he has the play style of a heliocentric offensive player, but he cannot net you the offensive results that warrant him getting the ball as much as he gets the ball.
I'm with you.
So at that point in time, that's why the Magic's offense flows better when he's off the floor, because now all of a sudden everybody's touching the ball a little bit more. The ball is moving a little bit more better without him. And where I'm at with Paolo is that I think a lot of his game is really a detriment to himself for the things he settles for. But this is who he is. And this is who he has been from high school, from college to now. He is a tough shot taker, a tough shot maker, but he's not making them nearly enough for him to be a viable, consistent, high-end offensive option. And then defensively, he's offering close to nothing. Out of 260 players per 36 minutes, he is dead last in deflections per game. He is not active defensive whatsoever. So now we're talking about defensively, he is really not active, playing past the lanes, defending at a high level. But then offensively, he's a clear negative to the team. So that's why I look at this as a Paolo thing, because the Magic have granted him this freedom because he was the first overall pick. And because he was the first overall pick, he's getting the most leeway to fail. But any player with these numbers, with these splits, that wasn't the first overall pick, we're talking about Jalen Green territory, where you're looking at a player and you don't think he's that valuable to the team. And listen, Jalen Green can turn around his career, but that was the perception around Jalen Green. He scores points, but they're inefficient, they're empty, and he tends to be a negative for his team. That is Paolo Banchero, but he's getting more leeway than somebody like that.
Two ideas came into my mind while everyone was talking. The first being, if Paolo Banchero improves at the rate that Julius Randle improved, would you be disappointed?
Yeah, as number one overall pick.
But you get the output and the result that Julius Randle gave you.
I'll say this, if Paolo Banchero becomes, which I think it's actually very plausible that Paolo's ceiling is
Julius Randle.
Julius Randle.
That's what I really put some thought into it.
But even then, number one, that's a disappointment for Paolo.
Okay.
And number two, he's already getting paid like a max star. So Julius Randle went from the Pelicans to the Knicks, and he wasn't making max money. Even now, his perception of him from the Knicks in the playoffs led to the negotiations for the Timberwolves being favorable, and he's still not getting paid like a max player. Right now, Paolo's going to be making 50 to 55 million per season. He's already getting paid like a true number one upper echelon franchise star. So at this point, the expectations of a Julius Randle aren't there because we paid you like a guy. You got to now be a guy. There ain't no being the third best guy on the team. There isn't none of that. If his contract was more favorable to him, then I would agree with you. But his contract has made it so the expectation has already been put on him to be that.
I agree with what you said. The one difference with Randall, who took that big step forward when he got to New York the second season, and Paolo, is that even with all these things going wrong, Dell's made a great point. I think his internal speed and processing hasn't, the mental side is not developed. And that's kind of like the thing that can't be fully fleshed out looking at a box score. And that's been a core reason of the shot selection and kind of lack of development. But the thing with Paolo is that he's getting the foul line at such an exorbitant rate with his physical tools that Randall wasn't quite doing that his first 4 years, getting the foul line 8 times a night. Now he's only making about 76% of a clip. But I think for any high volume score, that gives you that baseline, that credible floor that Paolo already has, to where it's like, if you make these incremental jumps in these other areas, I think that gives him this difference between him and some of these other power forwards in the NBA. The way in which he can create these advantages and gets to the foul line consistently, that is the one thing right now he still does do at a high level. And I feel like that's still the crux of him being that elite level scorer one day. In a way, I think you made a great point. In this sense right now, he is Jalen Green, but in a power forward. But there's still, to me, that hope. And I'm always going to be Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't really care. I'm going to be, and I've been very high on Paolo since he was drafted, I'm going to be the person that sits up here and I'm going to defend him for a very long time. And I'm going to give him a bit of a leeway, but it's for that reason that I'm so optimistic, even in a time where something is clearly missing. I think we covered some of it, but there's something a little bit deeper that I think the Magic need to do everything they can to reorient this core.
So I felt when he said Herbert wasn't top 10, I was like, I'm going to believe.
And find a system that can really amplify and make these three players complement each other. I also think, too, they're going to have to make some moves around the edges.
Number 2, would you trade Paolo for Zion?
No.
Who's the worst player you trade Paolo for? Not talking about a 1-for-1 swap, but he's the headliner of the deal with other things attached. I have a name already.
Evan Mobley.
I'd rather have Mobley. Where you're saying the worst player you would trade Paolo away for?
Yes.
Yeah, I would definitely rather have Mobley. Laurie?
We can get worse.
Michael Porter Jr.
You're getting crazy.
The Nets attach things to it, right? The Nets will attach some picks to it, but
if you're the Magic and you're like, we're going in on Franz, we want someone who could space, but has shown that if he's number 1, he could give you 25 plus a night.
MPJ was a championship number 3. Let's not forget that.
So
well,
MPJ,
the Magic are trying to get their championship.
MPJ with Bane would be amazing space.
I see the vision.
I see the vision too.
I see the vision. Magic fans aren't going to love it.
And if I'm being honest, what more are the Nets adding on? They got on something, but you're not adding on 4 first-round picks. You know what I mean?
No.
You're adding on what?
So would you take Zion?
Yes. Yeah.
Not Zion because of the durability and because of the lack of three-point shooting.
Can you get worse than MPJ?
Worse than MPJ?
Would you trade him for Brandon Ingram?
No.
All right, I want to see how nuts we get.
I think Michael Porter Jr. is perfect because he's close to his deal ending, and also he's just averaging 26 points per game. Was he an All-Star this year?
No.
Ah, damn. That's unfortunate. Should have been an All-Star.
All-Star caliber player.
Yeah.
In Brooklyn.
Yeah, in Brooklyn. That's a big caveat.
Bit huge, actually.
But yeah, it's really, I feel like for more so, it's like the Nets. Why are you gonna bank on Paolo?
Well, that's the thing. If you're the Nets, are you willing to give up 2 first-round picks on top of MPJ is Paolo showing you enough to do it? It's the idea of it makes sense because this could be the franchise guy. This could be the number 1 option because he does have the playmaking and the size and everything you would want. But that'd be a bold move if I'm the Nets.
If you get burned again and get the 7th overall pick after all this again, yeah.
We're going to stay on the topic of the Eastern Conference, and we're going to tier every single Eastern Conference team from S to F. Now, right now, according to Polymarket, the public believes the Cleveland Cavaliers
best chance
should be favored to win the East. 24% chance.
Things are making sense.
The Detroit Pistons are at 22%. The Knicks are at 19%. The Celtics are at 18%. That'll probably jump up when Tatum comes back for sure.
God willing.
The Sixers are at 5%.
Can I ask you a question while we're at it?
Yeah.
What is Jason Tatum's percent chance to play?
I have to check that
for me
on Polymarket because Polymarket also has Jason Tatum's chances to return this season.
45%.
You check?
I'm guessing.
Oh.
So
I'm going to guess after this 5-on-5, I'm leaning 52.
Yeah, I don't know.
53% chance.
Oh,
Nice.
Not too bad.
I was gonna be sub 50. I was gonna be like 48. I still think there's a better chance the public were gonna be against it.
So we're gonna work our way up to the top teams in the Eastern Conference. So for the F tier, I put 3 teams: the Pacers, Nets, and Wizards. I think those are all the F tier teams.
Whoa.
I'm gonna be so real. I focused on the playoff teams.
Well, it's S through F.
Yeah,
John.
you gotta have fun. However, Wizards, F?
Yes,
What about D?
F. F.
Potential.
F.
See the vision.
Next year they'll maybe be higher, but
If we
right now
were-
it's an
if
F.
we're going
Potential.
off seeing the vision, D.
Well, could you say the same thing about the Pacers? Like they're just tanking all the way out. Hallie's out.
If we're going strictly off this year, I will shut up. F.
I think so. It is.
The next tier is the D tier. I put 2 teams in this tier: the Bucks and the Bulls.
Okay.
I think the Bulls, without a doubt. The Bucks, if Giannis is playing, I can't have him at D.
They still are low key a D though.
I was gonna say something rude, but like, at what point do we just like look at the Heat and be like, "Yo, what the fuck"? Like, I mean, maybe they deserve to be in C tier because they're above. I get it, but it's just like
They're just the most average team of
at
all
this
time,
point
which is
they're
why they're a
just
C.
they're the Bulls with great PR.
Yeah,
That's what they
No,
become.
That's a terrible
they're just better
opinion.
than they're better than the Bulls.
They're better than them, but
Yeah.
that's what they become.
That's a terrible opinion.
Are they not just a team full of fine players that
That
will
are-
never get out of the first round
But
in the
are
foreseeable future?
the best coached team in basketball.
Again,
which
better PR. Or
the
you want to say
Bru-
just the best coach? The Bulls were the best coach.
The better PR is where you're sounding very rude.
They have better players though. The Bulls don't have a player that's as good as Bam.
Sure, they have
Adebayo.
better players,
Or
but
Tyler Hero.
I think the like
Or no-
overall
or no-
vibe from them is the same. Where it's just like you're consistently like this play-in team that consistently is just getting bounced in the first round. You just trade Jimbo last
They're
year.
not a
and
D.
just-
They're not a D. You're being rude.
I don't disagree with like your phrasing of them, but I do think they're
above them.
They're a C.
They're a glorified Chicago Bull. Is that what you're
Yes.
saying? Okay.
Like I mean it. I don't even mean it kindly.
No, I know.
'Cause
That's
feel like
why
Heat
I know
fans should
your
be pissed
hatred.
off, and they should be pissed off.
Chicago.
But why should
Northwest.
they be pissed off?
Because every single trade you're involved in, you never make a move. I think Spo is still obviously a great coach, but at some point you have to look around and be like,
Sleepy Pat,
I thought you
man.
were talking about the Bucks for a second.
no,
I'm in a
the
different space, my fault,
Heat.
man.
Yeah, you said Northwest. You lost me
Yeah,
for a second.
yeah, south, very south, not northwest.
But I don't know. It's just like you have a collection of players that are like, all right, all these guys are talented. But I shouldn't say every year, but recently and for the foreseeable future, you're probably gonna be a play-in team, and you'll probably get bounced in the first round or the play-in.
So when Jimmy signed to Miami, it was like, oh, whoa, nice. Let's see how this happens.
Sure.
Let's see what happens here. Jimmy ends up making them contenders.
Yes,
Okay. They're, would you argue, a star away?
maybe.
They're close to it.
They're Miami. It's not nuts to think a free agent's just going to be like, you know what? I'm going to Miami.
If you drop in Giannis on this team, they're a contender.
I mean,
You can say that about every
come
team in the
on.
East.
I mean,
But that's a star
but why-
away.
No.
But any team in the East you can
all-time-
say that
That's an
about.
all-time player.
Devin Booker on this team.
Sure.
Okay.
I would thoroughly enjoy Kawhi on this Heat team.
Okay. That's another all-time
All
great.
right, we
though.
don't have to delve into it. It was just
No, but I like
saw
what
them
the-
next to
just
each other.
Good conversation.
Good spot.
I'm gonna wholeheartedly
Okay.
disagree.
So
but Bulls for sure
yeah,
D.
they're awful.
Bucks
awful.
I can't say D
I mean,
Because
Giannis
of
isn't
Giannis.
because of Giannis.
Yeah, but even with Giannis, they're like a C at best, right?
Yeah.
with Giannis C,
with Giannis not being.
So do you want to
forward,
move them to a
it'd be
C?
I have them as a C personally.
I got him as a D.
Yeah, I had the Bucks as a D too. Are we
All
overruling?
right, can we
Is-
put the
is-
Hawks a D?
Well, the Hawks are better than even a
Hawks-
healthy Giannis on the Bucks.
Hawks made it for C tier for me.
This team is mid,
Yeah, that's why they're
Yes,
C.
C.
but
Yeah.
they might be below mid.
The C tier I had was I had the Heat and the Hawks. Those were the obvious C teams. And it really just depends. Like
The Magic are a C.
I'm high on the Hornets, but I put the Hornets at C for now.
No, my brother.
They
no.
still are like what 9 seed, 8 seed, right?
I put the Hornets at a C for now. Like I understand they're playing amazing basketball, but now it's about me seeing if they can go
Begin
further.
top of C tier, Hornets.
Yes.
Top of
No, they're a B team.
I have the Hornets as the last team in B, and the Magic are the first team in C.
Cook, elite Cook, John.
Well, the Magic are 4 or 5 games above in the stands, if I'm not mistaken.
C. So we're
but
throwing the Magic, the Hornets, the Hawks, and the Heat all
So
in C
let's
tier.
get some organization here. So Dels, right now who's in F?
F, we got Pacers, Wizards, and Nets.
D, who's in D?
D, we got Bucks and Bulls.
So the Bucks did make it in D.
Bucks made it in D.
So my C tier is the Heat, Hornets, Hawks. Your C tier is what, John?
I'll start from the top down. F tier was Wizards, Pacers, Nets. D, Bucks and Bulls. C tier, Hawks, Miami Heat, Orlando Magic.
We don't
B
want to
tier?
just have a collective pick a side tier.
I thought
No, that's what we're doing.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
what
we're
we're
doing.
doing here.
Dels has it right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm just keeping track.
All
B
right, I'm
tier
with
is
you.
the Hornets, Raptors, and Sixers.
So are we putting the Hornets in the B tier? I'm
I'd
cool with
I'd
it.
give 'em
I
the
think
last
the
spot.
Hornets offense has simply been way too good over the last 20 games.
Well, I control this tier list.
You do.
I'm not mad at the Hornets at B, but I mean, I kind of had a different definition for what my B teams were. So just
Can they be a top 6 seed in the East?
the Hornets.
The Hornets.
They're like
I don't think they are
5
better than the
games?
top 6.
Six
Which
So
is
there's 3 games
because
behind
I look at
Orlando.
the Pistons,
Is it
Cavs,
6?
Knicks, Celtics, Sixers,
more than that, huh?
Raptors.
Only 3.
I think
thought there was
those
more.
6
Okay.
are better than the Hornets.
They're only they're only
I thought there was more.
they're 4.5, which is a decent amount, but they were a decent amount away
Well,
before.
they've been one of the best teams
Won that
since
in the last 10.
2026.
Losing Diabate and
Yeah,
third
that-
all-time
that's tough.
leading scorer in the franchise.
So what, John? You
Yeah.
think? So you got like the Magic stamped over the Hornets.
Other way around.
Other way-
Hornets.
not
I mean,
stamped,
Hornets stamped
not
over the
stamped at
Magic.
all. But I had the Magic one
Stand
spot
on
below.
it. I'm
Magic
here.
to me, they're an
Hornets
average.
clear.
Magic are an average basketball team, and the Hornets are one of the hottest teams in
At least the
basketball.
Hornets
with
give
an
you
elite
offensive upside. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think
Magic.
losing Diabate for a couple of games, but next,
You
4
can't
games
guard the
or so,
Hornets.
Something.
How do you guard them?
Yeah, Brandon Miller's leading them
Yo,
in
bro.
scoring since
I'm taking my L.
yeah.
I'm taking my L.
So
B.
Hornets
Miller.
B tier.
I had the
Yes.
I had the
So-
Raptors and Sixers.
So
with
we
them
have
B
right
tier.
now, Dels, just so the audience is following, and the graphic will be up here because I'm assuming you're screen recording.
I am
But,
screen recording.
The Magic are at the top of C,
Yes,
and the first team we have in B is the Hornets.
that's correct.
Okay.
Love that.
Now here's the thing, and I did mine a little bit differently because
You were harsh. There are not many A teams.
I'm looking at S. I would say S teams.
Oh no, there's
Like-
almost no S teams.
Like B teams. This where I had the Sixers and Raptors. I think those are the strong B teams. We have the Hornets here as well. I think it makes sense. The Sixers, just as what they have been. I think even when they're healthy, Joel Embiid's playing amazing. I still think they're a tier below the top 4 in the East, to me at least.
I agree.
Because of the depth. I think that they have really good top end talent, but the depth overall is why I don't put them with the other East teams. And the Raptors feel like a good, solid, all-around team, but it's a question mark of like how much difference makers they actually have when going up against these top 4.
So we have 4 teams left. Teams talked about at the beginning of the show to tie it all together. The Pistons, Celtics, Knicks, and Cavs. To me, they all got to be in the same tier.
I
Ooh,
don't
agree.
hate where your head's at. But we have to have an S, and out of respect for the number 1 seed,
I'm okay with that.
we need to put the Pistons in the S tier. Personally,
Okay.
I just think that
All right.
they've been the most
Maybe be too
consistent
harsh.
all season.
Best defense in the NBA,
Best
not
de-
Oklahoma City. division.
Exactly.
Yes, I guess if we're doing based on this season, the regular season, that's more than
They
fair.
are the
Okay.
S tier team. In my A tier, I would only have the 2 teams as of right now. I would have the Knicks. I would have the Celtics. It would be tough to just immediately after 3 games jump them to A.
They've been playing really well
But
for like
they
a
are
month now.
a B plus team. B plus with room to grow.
So the Hornets were
They're
essentially
B
an
minus.
F to
They're
begin
B
the year.
minus.
They were,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
They're
many
B
injuries.
minus.
The
So
Hornets
many.
had a hot month, and that jumps them to
Hot month.
a B.
Hot
Well,
month.
They did have a
Hot
hot
month.
January,
Hot
they
month?
were amazing,
Month
right?
and a half. That's February
Yeah.
12th. You know?
The Cavs have been amazing for a month and a half too.
Here's the thing.
When their core has been together, they've been one of the best teams in the NBA.
Yes,
you know what
I
I'm saying?
agree.
All right, can you hear me
Small
before you
sample
say
size,
anything
I
else?
get it.
There's a large difference from getting an 80 on a project, getting an 89. You look at that 89 with hey, you did pretty
something.
damn
We did
great
something
here. That 80, good job. You know what I mean?
The Cavaliers have the best record in basketball since the new year.
And the aggregate.
I thought it was December 29th.
4
It's
seed?
essentially the new year.
You went back
just
a
messing
couple
with it, man.
games, a couple days. However, I'm acknowledging Cavaliers, really good team.
They, to me, are in the same tier as the Knicks, the same tier as the Celtics and the Pistons. The only reason why I disagree with the statement of the Pistons have to be S tier is because I don't believe they're an S tier team. So if we want to do this like relative to the East, which I understand if you do, but
That's
even
what we
then,
should do.
relative to the East, I don't think they're a tier apart from the Knicks.
That's where when I first said all these 4 teams should be together, that was my mindset, where they all feel the same. But if you just want to say regular season, they have separated themselves from the rest.
They're 5.5
In the regular season, they have, but I'm like,
if you're saying playoffs,
I don't think they have
get it.
separated themselves enough to where if they're a shoe and they'll make the finals.
All right, fine, agreed.
Certainly
but at
not,
this
yeah.
point in time, as we hit the All-Star break, they're the superior East team. At this point in time, right now, whether we want to like it or not, they're the best defense in basketball. They have a MVP candidate in Cade Cunningham. Jalen Duren's putting himself in contention to probably be the favorite, if not second, in most improved player. Asar Thompson, offense not great, but that defense is generationally great. They have pieces. This team's obviously great for a reason.
I'm with you. So what are we deciding with the Pistons between S and A? Are
Well,
they with the rest of the
all
pack?
4 of those teams are A for me. I don't have any East team in the S tier.
John?
That's just me.
I have the Pistons in the yes tier. I want to have the Cavaliers with them in the sense they were thinking of in a championship odds mindset. But as of right now, the Cavs top the A.
So you think the Cavs are the best team in the East?
No. Pistons are, but the Cavs to me are not far behind. The reason too is that Mobley being out the lineup, waiting for him to get inserted back in. I'm slightly playing that back in or factoring this in that I want to see the entire Cavalier team healthy.
So you're saying by the end of the year, the Cavs can be over the Pistons?
yes.
Okay.
The one thing I want to add, while the Pistons do have this cushion here, it is something with Isaiah Stewart, one of their best defenders, can spend 7 games. And then Durham being spent in 2 as well. So I wonder if that could kind of narrow the playing field between them and the
7
And
games.
hey, they've been able to manage. I mean, Dennis Jenkins goes out there and lights it up.
He's awesome.
So, like, I think that the thing with the Pistons is that it feels like a very high, safe, regular season floor team. And they've been amazing. I'm not taking anything away from them.
Sounds like it.
But 11th in
Sounds like
offense,
you're actually taking something away from them.
11th in offensive rating for a team that's the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Usually, those number 1 seeds.
Number 1 defense.
Yeah, but usually teams that are number 1 in any given conference, they're usually a top 10 offense and defense without a doubt. I mean, sometimes it's even the top 5 offense and defense without a doubt. I think there are some real question marks about their offensive output and just the process of the offense in a postseason setting.
I mean, Cade and Jalen Duren, I trust.
Yeah, it's just a secondary creator, which has been their question all season long, and they didn't really fix that at all at the deadline. So
Karis LeVert, low key.
this is what we have.
They're in
S tier, we have the Pistons. A tier, we have Boston, the Knicks, and the Cavs. B tier, Hornets, Sixers, Raptors. C tier, Magic, Hawks, Heat. D tier, Bucks and Bulls. Bless you.
Thank you, sir.
And F tier, Pacers, Wizards, Nets. Any changes?
I like it.
No, that sounds good. And according to Polymarket, the top 4 teams that we have, SA, those are the teams that the public believes has the best chance to make it out the East.
So the public doesn't believe in Detroit either,
Detroit is number 2, if I'm not mistaken.
which is nuts. How can you be 5 games up on every other team, at least?
It's a 1 percentage point difference, so I think it's 24 to 23%.
Oh, okay. That's not terrible.
Yeah, it's not a big difference between those teams. Now that we did the Eastern Conference, we're going to move on to the Western Conference and tiering every single West team. Now, according to Polymarket, they have some odds on the Western Conference champion this year.
Lakers?
Number 1,
crap.
OKC.
Oh,
51%.
Holy
This is a
shit.
landslide. Everybody, the public believes OKC will be the team. Denver is at 17%. The Spurs are at 11%.
Seems like the East is where you can make some bread.
The Timberwolves are at 7%, and the Rockets are at 5%. So we'll do this tier listing, and we'll see how accurate we are to these top 4 teams.
So we did go from F to S
We did.
on the East.
We can so
However,
F tier at the
the
West.
West S tier,
It's easy.
Oklahoma City.
and Denver.
And Denver.
No.
I don't agree.
Whoa.
Not right now.
Don't agree.
Not right now.
Just because they're not healthy?
Yes.
Yeah,
Not right
missing
now.
AG and Payton, and then the supporting cast has not played. I mean, there have been contributors. Tim Hardaway Jr. and company have played well. Jonas Valanciunas, but the supporting cast is not where it needs to be right now. Especially Payne Watson being out these next 3 weeks. All-Star break will kind of cut away a week of that, and then Aaron Gordon being out the lineup too. I think that's a real concern.
Because if you're going to put Denver in the S tier, the team that has consistently handled OKC is the San Antonio Spurs. So by that definition, then you'd have to respect them and put them in S tier too. We can't do that.
Spurs
I'm
and
not-
Nuggets are right here.
I think
I
Spurs are A
agree.
tier.
Perfectly said.
Well, there's a difference, I think, between the Spurs and Nuggets. I think
They're
number
not
1,
experienced.
the Nuggets have won a championship, and
Yep.
they have the championship core still intact. I don't view the Denver Nuggets from the lens of what they are currently, but more so what they're going to look like when they're healthy, because they have a lot of injuries throughout the season. And the way I view them, is I think that this is the best team in the West when healthy. I think they will represent the West and go all the way to the NBA Finals. Because when you have Jamal and Brown and then Cam Johnson, Gordon, Jokic, then off the bench, Payne Watson has emerged, Tim Hardaway Jr., Jonas, they have significantly improved their depth, and they took OKC to 7 last year. So Denver, for me, we kind of know what they are, man. Like, heading into the playoffs last year, they were very mediocre to the point that, I thought the Clippers could have beat them in a series. And then they take OKC to 7. Yeah. So I think there is something to be said for David Adelman taking over because he has given these younger players a longer leash. Jalen Pickett has become more comfortable. Payne Watson has become more comfortable. Julian Strawther is on a 4-game stretch where he's playing really well. He's become more confident. So I think the Denver Nuggets have done a masterful job at developing the young players they have in-house while adding those vets. I think they're an S-tier team. I think that, for me, this is the best team in the West when healthy.
I'm not surprised to hear you say that. You've been very high on the Nuggets, and deservedly so. They're a fun team, a great talented team. I don't know about fun. They're just very well put together. However, there's just right now where we stand, I cannot say they're on the level of Oklahoma City right now.
If you're just going based on they're not 100% right now,
yes.
But I do think Denver deserves some grace just because we know what they are.
Okay, so then I can say the same thing about Oklahoma City, who J-Dub has been out for. No, but that's
the thing with J-Dub is
but
just
they're
the 3-point shooting.
Still a tier. They're still better than the Nuggets by 6 games.
So how can OKC be a tier apart from Denver when they went to a 7-game series together?
That was last year.
And OKC also got off to a 22-1 start, and they haven't been the same since.
Perfect world, the Nuggets are an S-tier team, but you cannot overlook the injuries. And that's why they're in the A tier, because they are serious. Aaron Gordon's injury, serious. And the supporting cast, even Jokic has been dealing with some issues this year. They are an S-tier caliber team. But the benefit of the doubt to me is not their performance, it's the durability, because that's the reason they lost last year to Oklahoma City. And it's the reason I have a little bit of concern this year, because I think the supporting cast has had developmental pieces and veterans step up. But it's just the fact that you do not know if you're going to have healthy AG, and that's someone who's pivotal in the postseason.
So when healthy, they're S.
Yes.
Well, John's the Nuggets guy, so I'll let him be the tiebreaker here. We can put
right now, they have to. We almost lost to Memphis last night, too, because of this. I'd have them top of A tier right now.
I haven't heard you say we very often, so I like that from you, bro.
The A tier team, I think, this is where, I had the Nuggets in S tier. The Spurs at the top of A tier.
Easily.
I think the Spurs, they're creeping up on OKC. They're awesome. Like, it's just simple as that. I think, Wemby, of course, is one of the best players in the world, but the depth around him overall is what I think a lot of people minimize coming into the year. I think people minimized a lot the De'Aaron Fox acquisition and what he was going to mean to the team.
Guilty.
Yeah.
And they have a group of stars, up-and-coming players that can explode in performances like Stephon Castle, and then some really good three-point shooters and defenders. So I think that's what makes them so dangerous. I had the Timberwolves in A tier with them, too.
I don't hate it.
I'd like that. I would also have the Wolves in A tier.
Rockets, no way, no how?
No.
The
Rockets, with their slump, they are at the top of B tier, and they're slowly falling. Like, the Rockets, the tier I had them in with, I have the Rockets and the Lakers
I was
in
going
the
to say,
same tier.
Lakers are a B tier team to me personally.
And the Suns are at the bottom of B.
You could argue we are a volatile team because we haven't been healthy. Haven't had LeBron, AD, and Reeves.
Sure.
You, King.
Sure.
So
now
sorry.
got Luka Kennard too. So
no LeBron, Reeves, and Luka together healthy at the same time for a consistent amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
That could swing things.
Sure.
So LeBron's locked.
Yeah, the Lakers.
He's locked to a certain degree. This 3-point shooting needs to turn around though.
The Lakers are just so far behind the top four, in my opinion, just from a talent
Minnesota
perspective.
as well.
Yeah, I think Minnesota just has the defenders, the athletes. They're just really good, man. Like, I think the Lakers, they just lack the athletes and the defense to compete with the top four.
I'm with it. So are we putting Phoenix with the rest of these B teams with the Rockets and Lakers?
I put them at the bottom
I
of
was
B.
gonna say, I think you could argue that they're the Hornets of the
it's valid.
Yep.
of the Western Conference.
And we put the
They're
Hornets
slightly
in B.
better.
Yeah.
Okay, so Phoenix goes in B. Who would have thought, man? With the Rockets and Lakers. Shout out to the Suns.
I mean,
I
the
like
Suns
the
low-key are
Wolves.
just as good as the Rockets.
Minnesota
crazy.
being A tier again in there, I thought the Ayo Dosunmu pickup was a needle moving type of acquisition for them,
sure
so
did.
that's very valid.
The
So,
C tier, Blazers, Warriors, and Clippers.
Warriors.
I just had the Warriors and Clippers in C tier.
It's two
Blazers
teams
need
held up by
respect.
star.
Yeah.
They're doing this without a bona fide superstar. And doing this is being a respectable team in the West, which is not easy.
Wait,
Yeah.
who is superstar?
The Blazers. No, I'm saying they're doing this without.
Oh, of course. I thought you meant like somebody's injured, and that's why they're doing this.
Thought I'd said Danny was superstar.
I mean,
You know, you
he's a star.
can talk me into having the Blazers bottom of C.
Like, they're definitely not a D team. Far
No.
from.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
they're a solid C team. They're a
And
playing
Drew
team.
Holiday coming back from injury too is going to give him a huge boost, and has, I should say.
Scooter shooting, his jump shot looks better. I can say that. But yeah, the Warriors and the Clippers, it's just two teams being held up by a star. I will say, the Harden-less Clippers in this when they traded after they traded him, the
Pretty bad.
Clippers have played well. They have played well.
That was Zoo too.
Without?
Yeah, I mean, they
I'm looking
beat
at
the-
Kawhi specifically.
They beat the hell out of the Rockets, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they won by 3. Oh, well, no. Game-winning shot by Kawhi yesterday, and then they lost to the Rockets the day before that. They had played it back-to-back.
Okay.
They
it
beat
was-
the shit out of the Wolves.
Okay, I see. You're right. It was the Wolves. Facts.
Kawhi had 41.
The
Shout out to
Clippers
Kawhi, man.
have been playing good, but
MVP.
it's been on the back of Kawhi just going ballistic, right? So I think the Warriors and the Clippers feel like they're in the same
That
tier.
take is aging amazingly. I'm just saying.
I don't know. What's
I'm just saying.
Polymarket say about that?
No, maybe not MVP, but Kawhi's been
Less
fucking.
than 1%.
He's been OP this season.
He's been awesome. That was never the debate.
The D tier, I had the Mavericks and
He's been a top
Grizzlies.
5 player this year. That's not cap.
I just had What'd
you say?
Mavericks,
D?
Mavericks.
D?
Mavericks
Mavs?
and Grizzlies at
Yeah,
D
I'm
tier.
not calling the Mavs an F. The Grizzlies, you could argue.
Yeah, just got Cooper Flags getting them out of there.
The
You're
Grizzlies just have so
You
much
see Cooper Flag's new
injuries.
right. That was diabolical.
I'm not sure.
Nickname? You haven't seen it?
I don't know if I have.
Definitely can't repeat that anywhere.
I haven't seen it either, but
No.
I heard it.
Okay,
People
I got-
tell me he's
I got
got
look
It's
it up.
flag, and then there's something at the end.
Oh, you really haven't seen it?
Oh, okay. Yes. Yes. Yes, I do think I've seen that on
I'm
the
gonna be honest.
on
They
the
went to
Twitter
the moon.
world.
John, say it.
Bro.
We want to get John canceled.
So D tier, I had the Mavericks and the Grizzlies, and F, I had the Pelicans, Kings, and Jazz.
I think that all of those are fair. You saw the Jazz just got fined
Yeah,
for tanking.
Yeah, 500K.
Good.
but even then, Jaren
Hey,
Jackson
nothing, though.
Jr.'s injury was serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, the surgery's undergoing. I haven't seen as much.
It
today
makes
on the
more
rest
sense
of it.
because when they had the physical, they noticed there's something growing in his knee that needed surgery for to get it removed. And then the 2 games he played, they sat him out in the fourth quarter, and people thought it was tanking, which it very well could have been. But their reasoning was that he was on a minutes restriction anyway, and then they decided to shut him down recently. So he does need surgery for real.
500K is nuts.
Yeah.
But
But I mean, what they were
will
doing was
say-
egregious. They didn't put their best players on the floor in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they pulled them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's marketing too.
Nuts.
And then they asked Will Hardy, "Did you ever think about putting him back in the game?" He's like, "No, I didn't."
I mean, at some point, you got to respect the level of tanking.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, there's
Just when it's that egregious.
4 teams tanking right now egregiously. I think it's the Jazz, the Nets, the Wizards, and Pacers. Those are the 4 egregious tanking teams right
Yeah.
now.
So that's our final West tier list. Just put a bow on this. S tier Thunder alone because John Nuggets guy said so. A tier got the Nuggets, Spurs, and Wolves. B tier Rockets, Lakers, Suns. C tier Clippers, Warriors, Blazers. D tier Mavericks, Grizzlies. F tier Kings, Pels, Jazz.
Why can't the Spurs do it? Why can't they?
They can.
Win it all. Is that what you're saying?
If they can come out of the West, they can win it all without a shadow of a doubt.
Yes, I'll agree with you. It's coming out of the West is the bigger
But
challenge.
why can't they beat the Spurs? The Thunder.
I mean, they've shown the regular season where they 3-1 against
You want
them.
to know why? You want to know why? Because there's levels to this shit. And you know who can't hold my boy's jockstrap?
I'm not Chet. Who's going with? Okay, they have Shea.
What
Dub.
comes to concern is J-Dub and what version of J-Dub you get.
Yeah.
If you get J-Dub locked in, teed up, concerning.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's the X factor.
Yeah, if he can't hit a 3 consistently, that's a very
He's the
serious
X
concern
factor,
for the
genuinely, 'cause
Thunder. Offensively it changes.
it's going to be him versus Keldon Johnson. Keldon Johnson, you can anticipate. He's going to give you his best.
I want to.
But really, it's going to be Stephon Castle. Like Stephon Castle playing defense on him because I think you just take your chances on SGA just being SGA.
Yeah, the
No?
Thunder. they're rightfully the top team in the Western Conference to me. I do want to shout out Nikola Topic, who today came
Shout
back
out debut.
after chemotherapy.
He got some minutes tonight. What do you got?
He most importantly got on the floor, and I think that, shout out to him, being 20 years old, going through as much as he has over the last 2 years. It's really
Did he
a
have ball
remarkable
cancer?
thing. He had testicular
Yes.
cancer.
I thought-
Shout out to him. Glad to see him back on the floor, and hope to have him healthy for the rest of the season and moving forward. It's a very special story, and happy to see him back healthy.
No doubt. No doubt.
Shout out to
God
Nicola.
bless.
Yep.
That's going to do it for this episode of Pick a Side Podcast, episode 552. You guys can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast, on Instagram at Pick a Side Podcast, and on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod. Also our Facebook page. Make sure you guys tune
Love
into
you,
that.
Facebook.
Thank you guys for watching,
Get
and we'll
Polly.
see you guys next time.